Hey VC, it's Ron. Thanks for dropping by again. Hey, I got part 2 of my continuing series of showing vintage 45s with the correct company sleeves. Now the records I'm showing are dating from the 1950s all the way up through the 70s. So in case you missed part 1, basically what it is I'm showing 45s with the correct company sleeves that the record was issued with when it was first released. So I got a pretty good pile lined up again today, and most likely there will be a part 3. So let's get going with part 2. Okay, let's get started. We'll start off with the little theme music, and it's by the Mark IV, and the track is going to be 45 RPM. And this is 1958 doo-wop. Let's give it a spin. Let's get going with some Capitol, and this is Frank Sinatra, Love and Marriage, and from 1955, and you may know that song from the TV show Married with Children. Here's some Gene Vincent, and this is the sleeve design that came out after this one. Now you'll notice this one's missing the tear off. On this one the tear off tab is in place, and it's basically for the store to write the catalog number and the price to keep that as their record of the sale. So this is an LA pressing from May of '56. Now here's a couple of other Gene Vincents. And I think they I'm not sure if I remember right, these two aren't correct. I think all three of these would be this variation of the sleeve, and what I mean by variation I will show you. The first version of the sleeve has this brown border right here. The second version of the sleeve has more of a straight across arched top, and this one has a notched V. So this is the last version of the sleeve. So actually I should have all three of these in this style sleeve. Here's a Champs Tequila, 1958. Here's some Ventures on Dalton, November 1962. The 2,000-pound B, and that's got a ton of fuzz in it. Just totally infused with fuzz. Very cool. Here's the Shantae's Pipeline, January of 1963. Little surf instrumental. There's another surf record, Wipeout, the Safaris. Now this is the 1965 reissue with a different catalog number. Little Paul Revere and the Raiders on the orange Columbia label, and this was their first 45 on Columbia, and it's from 1963. Here's some Seeds on Crescendo. Now if you have a Seeds 45 collection, you need to have all your Seeds records in this style sleeve. Anything else is wrong. This is a second version. I originally had Out of the Question on the B-side. Now, like I say, if you have this style sleeve with your Seeds records, it's incorrect. These are more early 60s before the Seeds. Okay, here's one of the last Seeds 45s before they broke up, and Bad Part of Town. And it's from 1970. Here's The Wanted in the Midnight Hour. Detroit band. Now these sides were originally issued earlier on a Detroit label, and then A&M picked them up. This is the Scarecrow. Kisses Sweeter Than Wine. May 68. Now, it was originally done by Jimmy Rogers, who also did Honeycomb. And that's a punked up version of that song. And here is Ocean, Rattle of Life. Some weird, demented beat poetry psych. It's their only record from 467. Here's The Temptations, Psychedelic Shack. And this is from 1969. Steppenwolf, Rock Me on ABC Dunhill. 1969. Here's White Lightning and William. Now, William is actually the B-side of Paupers and Poets. But William is killer, and so yeah, they put that on the B-side. MC5 Kick Out the Jams, and I got a nice new old stock company sleeve for it. Very cool, and this is a specialty pressing from January of 1969, and it's pressed on real vinyl rather than styrene. Now the next three I'm going to show are on three different labels, but they are all distributed by the Atlantic Group. We got The Shadows of Night, Oh Yeah. Now this sleeve was introduced in 1967. Or I should, well, maybe it was 66. Because this 45 was issued in, well, maybe when the 45 was first issued, it didn't have this sleeve. And then later, they started putting the record in the sleeve. I don't know, I'm not exactly sure, but I think this sleeve was introduced in 67, but I could be wrong. And then Born Under a Bad Sign, Albert King. And that's the Stax label. And that's from 1967. And the Nas, Open My Eyes. Now, when this was first released, it had its own picture sleeve. But this record was also distributed in the Atlantic Group sleeve. Okay, Jane Morgan, A Girl Named Johnny Cash, May of 70. The Zombies, Tell Her No. Leave Me Be, from 1964, Parrot label. Wild Thing, The Trogs on Fontana, June of 66. Now this is the first variant of the sleeve. And the last variant of the sleeve was this one. And this is The Trogs, You Can Cry If You Want To, from June of 1968. Now on this one they have the seams are on the outside of the sleeve rather than inside of the sleeve. So if you have this Fontana sleeve, it's more like from about 1968. Okay, one more. Now I showed this before and I said that this was a Chattahoochee company sleeve, and through my investigations I found that to be incorrect. When I found this record, I found it in the thrift store and it had that sleeve with it. So naturally I assumed that it was the correct sleeve. Well, I found out that this sleeve was actually issued in the early 70s, around 1972. And it was out for a short time, and it's for the Target label. But I'll tell you what, it still looks great with that Chattahoochee company label, so hey, I'm leaving it the way it is. It's very cool looking. So I just wanted to clear that up for all you. And this is from December of 1964. Land of a Thousand Dances, The Midnighters. Okay, that does it for this pile. And stay tuned because I got another video coming up real shortly. Randy, Deadwax66, sent me some VCLT. So I'll be showing those 45s that he sent me. And I also have a very small pile of recent finds 45s that I will lump in with it. So look for that, and until next time, later.